Okay, so we measure a circle, or we measure angles in two different units of measure, in degrees, which is kind of the one we're most familiar with, and radians, which is not the one we're most familiar with, but it's the one that's used more often. That's why when you pull up your calculator, it's usually automatically set on radians, because that's the one that gets used more in science and that. Okay, so we know everybody is familiar with the 360 degrees is one time around a circle, right? That's what we're talking about, the number of degrees. If 360 opens up, then what fraction of 360 is something less than that. When it comes to radians, radian measure means we're not going to measure by the degrees that it opens up. What we're going to measure is, let's say here's my angle n degrees. Instead of measuring it by the degree measure there, we're going to measure by the length of that piece of the circle, the arc length. How long is that piece? Right? That's what radian measure is. Now, understand that how long that piece is depends on how big is the circle. I mean, if for a bigger circle, that arc length will be bigger. So when it comes to radian measure, actually we're saying specifically, how long is that arc when the radius of the circle is 1? That will make sure that we're consistent with how long the piece is supposed to represent, right? So when this radius is 1, r equals 1, then the length of that arc from here to here, that's the radian measure of the angle. It's another way to refer to how much are these opening up, how much of the arc is it intersecting. Right, so if the circumference of a circle would be all the way around the circle, and the formula is 2 pi r. But if the radius is 1, then the circumference is 2 pi. So one time around the circle, when the radius is 1, is 2 pi. That's why 360 degrees takes you once around the circle, but so does 2 pi radians. Right, just two different ways to measure an angle. Start and right. So in degrees, right, if it's 0 degrees would be that the terminal side is right on top of the initial side. It doesn't open up at all. Or if I go all the way around the circle once, that's 360 degrees. Same place. Now, halfway between 0 and 360 is 180. So the negative x-axis is 180 degrees. Halfway between 0 and 180 is 90 degrees, which again, we're familiar with right angles mean 90 degrees. That looks consistent. Halfway between 180 and 360 is 270 degrees. Same way over here with radians. We already said once around a circle would give me 2 pi radians. So that means halfway around the circle is only pi radians. Halfway between 0 and pi is pi over 2. Halfway between pi and 2 pi is 3 pi over 2. So we could also refer to all of the axes with negative angles. What would be the negative angle? If this is 270 positive, what is the measure of this angle negative? Negative 90, right? If this is positive 90, then this is negative 90. Right? How about what's the negative angle that goes here? What's the negative angle here? Right? How about here? What's the negative angle that takes me to there? Negative pi over 2. Right, that's positive pi over 2, that's negative pi over 2. Right, what's the negative angle? And 3 pi over 2.